This video is a recap on the last video I made, which was called Ray Comfort is Not Saved. I just have to wake up and remember every single day that 99.9% of the Christian church in America does not follow 2 Timothy 2:15. They do not rightly divide their Bibles. I have to remind myself of that every single day. And I have to remind myself that that's the reason why none of these guys get salvation right. The simplicity of the gospel. No works, no nothing, just simply having faith in the finished cross work of Christ. I have to remember that they don't get that because they don't rightly divide. Because they go back in times past in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they start adding works, and they start adding law, and they start adding all kinds of these things to the cross of Christ, because that was before the cross of Christ. And they don't follow the Apostle Paul like we're supposed to. Because if I don't remind myself of that every time I see one of these videos that Ray Comfort says that believing in Jesus, you can still go to hell if you believe in Jesus. If I don't remind myself of that, you get videos like I made a couple days ago where I'm all emotional, and I need to catch myself. So I think it's a good protocol for myself to, before I do a video, wait a day or two, remind myself that the reason that these guys are saying this stuff, like John MacArthur, Ray Comfort, all of them, Francis Chan, John Piper, every single person in the spotlight, the reason they say these things is not necessarily because they're purposely deceiving people. I think the majority of the cases, not all, is that they are deceived themselves because they do not rightly divide their Bibles. They do not follow 2 Timothy 2:15. They go into the wrong dispensations. They go into the wrong times before the cross. They don't follow the Apostle Paul like we're supposed to. 1 Timothy 1:16. Howbeit for this cause in me first Jesus Christ might show all long suffering for a pattern for them that hereafter believe on him to life everlasting. We start with the Apostle Paul and we end with the Apostle Paul, especially when it comes to salvation. Because if you don't do that, then you end up doing what all these guys do. And I kind of sounded stupid the other day. I sounded like the old free gracer self, because when I was a free gracer, I didn't understand right division yet. I didn't know about it. And so you get this attitude and you get upset because you think these people are purposely doing this. They're purposely deceiving these people. But they're deceived themselves. They lack the knowledge. And when you here's the problem. Most of the time with these guys, when you try to tell them about I've commented on Ray's videos, and he's actually commented back to me, and I've told him about right division, and I've given him not clues, but some things to go to and study on YouTube, but he obviously hasn't. He's gotten back to me too, so I know he saw them. And the problem is that actually should get me upset, and every other right divider out there upset, is the fact that most of these guys are going to reject this teaching. They've been so ingrained with what they believe for, I don't know how Ray Comfort been at it, for 10, 20, 30 years, I don't even know. And, they've got entire businesses, because it's not ministries anymore, it's businesses. And if they're 501c3 churches, they're corporations. They're government status corporations that depend on them. And if they just start right dividing and telling people a different message, whether it's right or wrong or not, you freak people out, and they freak themselves out. They're scared. Most of these guys are scared to know the Bible rightly divided, because they would have to admit it takes a lot of courage for somebody in that spotlight like that rich, because Ray Comfort's a millionaire just like every other guy in the spotlight, and none of them rightly divide. And it takes a lot of courage and a lot of humbleness to step out and say, I'm wrong, God is right, the King James Bible is right. And fat chance with that happening. Don't look forward to any of that happening. And you guys already know everything from here on out until the rapture is going downhill. Everything is going downhill. We could see it. It's all around us now. Especially right dividers. We could see it. It's apostate central. But yes, so I wanted to make a slight apology to all my like-minded right dividing friends out there for sounding a bit emotional on my last video, which was called Ray Comfort is Not Saved, because I have to remind myself of the fact that these guys, they don't know right division, and even though I believe they've been exposed to it, they are just their conscience is seared with a hot iron in their doctrine, and they're too far along, too far down the road to even if Jesus Christ showed up as a bright shiny light like he did with Saul of Tarsus, I don't think it would work. These guys are just too far gone. So yeah.